Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Blunders and Bothwellians, the Wounded Witch edition. This is the Sunday party back again with episode 36. They are currently in the country of Amley, the country of snow, mountains and mostly gnomes, except for a few humans and dwarves here and there scattered about. It is the home of the lovely Arissa's family. They are there partly because, well, chance and fate just took them there, but also Arissa's brother is getting married to the Prince of Amley. It's all very exciting. They're in the capital, Regal, which is in a huge underground city carved into the mountains. They have been to the wedding. All has been marvellous. Kess slipped away at one point to do something that none of them know about. Hint, hint, she murdered some teenagers and took their souls. But it's all fine. So we will rejoin the Sunday party at the wedding of Arissa's brother in Regal. So... Hello!
Okay.
Hello! Oh, we have a Cass! Hello!
Hello.
So I love that I come back into the chat and it's just Cass drugged them with candy drugs.
Brew them with candy drugs as a white man.
That's
Well, I mean,
no.
it was fairly close to that.
No, it was fine. It was fine. It was totally morally unopposable. It was totally fine. So the recap for everyone is that currently you are now in the wedding party is going late into the evening.
Not
Cass,
everyone.
Cass, you are, I assume, on your way back from where you have been at the edge of the city.
Well, let's say that I tried to clean up the...
So yeah, Cass,
Yes.
you can return as and when. Everyone else, it's coming up on about midnight, 1 a.m, and the party is still in fairly full swing. These are very excitable gnomes after all. There is music, there is dancing. Almost half of the 200-meter long buffet table has been devoured, but there is more. So everyone channel your inner Varric and chow down.
Oh, they ate the table. Poor
I mean, there are some very drunk people, some very drunk gnomes who are gnawing on the legs of the tables as if they are like bones of chicken, but for the most part, they've eaten the food. But sure. I'm a yes and DM. Why not? Sure, people are eating table legs. Why not? It could happen. So yeah, you guys, it's coming up on 1 a.m. Party's still in full swing. You have rooms at the palace that you are welcome to go back to and stay in. Is there anything else you would like to continue doing, seeing, talking to, etc. as the night wears on? I love how Errol just laughs.
Pum, pum,
Pom, 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 pom. Yes, Ariel, you are of course still female.
Yeah, that was 10 months, right?
Yes, unless you get it reversed with magic. Cool. So, Cass, are you going to go back to rooms, or are you going to go back to the party, or are you going to wander around thinking about what you've done? And Ariel, please roll a sleight of hand for that which you have just asked me.
Sorry, I was just getting my dice.
That's it.
Good question.
Ooh, nat 20.
At 20. Okay, Ariel, what would you like to pixie dust?
Just random stuff.
Alrighty.
With that nat 20, I'd like to pixie dust the buffet table, if at all possible.
You can pixie dust one of them. Like, it's not just one long 200-meter long table. It's like several of them that have been like covered together. Would you like one with food still on it, or one with empty
Yes.
dishes?
Preferably one that people are, going to grab from.
Okay. All right. So
I'm knowing on.
Ariel very quietly and carefully sprinkles pixie dust, which no one notices because there's so many lights and disco balls and glittery things in the room already. And the table starts to levitate suddenly up into the air. You hear a scritching of wood and an "Ah, me teeth!" as one of the drunk patrons who was hanging onto it with his teeth trying to gnaw one of the legs like a chicken bone gets dragged up a few feet into the air as the table starts to drag up. The tablecloth comes with him as he paws at it, and he gets covered in soup and custard and a tureen of oranges and strawberries and things. Other patrons who are reaching out to take sausages on sticks draw back in horror. What? What is going on? What is the meaning of this? I wanted that one! That was the last sausage on a stick! Etc, etc.
Oh, catch!
Uh-oh. Are you are you tipping the table over so the food falls off, or...?
I'm pixie dusting half of the table.
Okay. Okay, so food and things start to slide down off the table. You can see, like, cheese and pineapple on sticks. My cabbages! Says Laura. Indy, meanwhile, is apparently standing quietly off to one side, deep in thought. Just so you're all aware. You see a rain of little cocktail sticks with cheeses and pineapples come flying down towards people, landing in the floor. You can see, as I say, like a huge vat of soup, which is not as scalding hot as it was a few hours ago when the buffet was put out, but still fairly warm, starts sliding towards some of the drunk gnomes on the floor. A woman rushes in and grabs her small child who is playing underneath the table before he can get speared by some of the cocktail sticks. And in one last-ditch moment, an elderly gnome who was reaching for the last sausage on a stick runs and sprints and dives under the table. No! Indiana Jones style, to pick his hat out from under the closing cave door and manages to save the last sausage on a stick just before it hits the ground and pops it in his mouth.
Nice catch.
He cannot see you because you rolled a nat 20, but he shouts around to whoever shouted, "Thanks!"
I'd like to slowly levitate the table back down. I'm not going to drop it on him.
Everyone sort of stood back now. Some of the children are saying, "Ooh, poltergeist!" And they're like clapping and looking around like waiting and watching, and nothing happens. And they're like, "Oh, he must have gone away! Oh!"
Can I use the cantrip Umbral Hand, which is a mage hand, to tap one of the children on his shoulder?
Yes, you may. The kid looks around. "What was that?" "What?" says the other kid. What? "I got touched!" A few elderly gnomes look around. "What?" Like, no, by the poltergeist! That doesn't make this sound any better, Timmy. But I felt him! And this little gnome starts looking around.
I just realized something.
Mm.
While I'm not that visible, I rolled a nat 20, which means that my kiss in the neck starts glowing.
What?
It's that thing from my goddess that you gave me when I got the nest.
Okay, I was just wondering how would you call that?
It's normally the mark of this goddess, but it's in the shape of like
A kiss on your neck.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And of course, it's aptly named Irtar's Kiss.
Of course.
Yeah, obviously, for obvious reasons.
You do sort of blend in a little with the room. There's lots of sparkles and shiny things, and the kids looking around would not be looking for a tiny pixie. They're looking for like a gnome-sized poltergeist. So you get away with it for now, but you do become aware yourself that it is pulsing.
In that case, I'm gonna fly back down, and just casually stand at one of the tables and grab a bite to eat.
Cool.
Just as if it's not me that levitated the table and crashed it all down.
Pretty much everything there is as big as you, if not more so. Especially, you sort of edge your way past this huge pie, which is like, there's one that's dripping with like meats and gravies and stuffing, and there's another one full of vegetables and cheese, and as you walk past and flutter, there's another one that's full of like raspberries and rich dark berries, and the pies themselves are as tall as you are in their dishes, so you can probably lick one, but you know, you probably avoid those.
So you're saying if I take a few of the cocktail skewers, I have javelins?
Yeah, I mean, very easily breakable javelins, but sure.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like,
gonna
I'm down.
I'm not gonna take them yet.
All
Maybe if I decide to take one of the things on a stick. That I'm not eating,
All right, bear that one in mind then.
I might just take a random snack that is arrow sized, or at least that could be made arrow sized. Maybe cut off something with my swords or something to, resize it.
Noted. Oh no, sorry, I just opened the wrong thing. Oh no, I'm back. There we go. Marvellous. Right. So yeah, you guys, the evening is yours to do what you would like with. You can remain at the wedding, you can go home, you can continue to have dance competitions and snog random people. Arissa. Yeah, is there anything else anyone would in particular like to do this evening before it's the following day?
Nah, I'm alright.
Cool. In which case, at some point in the evening...
Wait. I guess let's specify for me that I guess Tess tries to get rid of the evidence somehow. Before going home.
Okay, I mean, the evidence so far you've got is 4 teenage bodies. You can erase your own footprints and make sure it doesn't look like your feet were there. But other than that, there's just teenagers who died from some sort of necrotic shock.
Yeah.
Do you want to hide the bodies?
Is it best to burn them, or would there be too much light?
I mean, it's the middle of the night in an underground city. A fire would probably cause a lot of light, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
It wasn't a difficult choice, to be honest. Let's be honest.
Oh, the memes have started in earnest. I like to think that the options aren't murder teenagers or go with the party. The options are literally dance at the party or murder teenagers. And Cass is like, oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Everyone in the world marks safe from Cass today. Welcome to the party! Cass hasn't killed anyone in T-. Let's all go to the board! 5 minutes! Yay!
Not that bad.
I feel like if you say it in that voice, that T-5 minutes changes quick.
Yeah, it's all
That
fine.
was way too cheery.
It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong here. It's all absolutely fine. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think she would like to hide the body, so
Okay.
it will be fairly visible to burn them, right?
I mean, you're in an underground city, and it's nighttime, and to burn them would cause quite a large fire.
Yeah. Okay.
That doesn't mean anyone would necessarily look. I mean, but yes, it would cause some light.
Okay, and would it be very difficult to make it look like something else happened, like some sort of weird cultic suicide thing?
I mean, what do you have in mind, Cass? What do you have in mind?
Well, it sounds like basically they all died from necrotic.
Yeah.
So what if I make it look like they were trying to summon some sort of demon? Or
Cool.
some sort of thing?
Cass, do me an intelligence check. My God, I wish there was
there
was a roll me an imagination check. I'm gonna go with intelligence for this one.
No, not intelligence, please. Everything but intelligence.
Anything but that.
Ah, phew, that's a 16 because I have a -1 on it. But if it's about hiding evidence.
Okay, so you wanted to make it look like it's some sort of ritualistic suicide, or that they tried to summon something and it went wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of like that.
So
I can use the book to
yes. Okay. So
Right.
you rolled quite well. So you have a look around and you think to yourself, I like to imagine Kess just sat on a rock doing that like philosopher's stance with her fist on her chin, like So you have a think, and an idea comes to you. You flick through your book, and you find a load of like sort of summoning rituals that do various things to summon like smaller demons. You find out you could actually summon Sir Jalin if you wanted to.
Ooh, okay.
As far as you're aware, he can contact you whenever he wishes. But on flicking through, you discover you can actually contact him. And you mash a few of those together so it won't actually summon something by accident. And you cobble together what looks like a sort of, a rough idea, and you can draw it out with a stick in the ground. You add a few rocks here and there.
Make it look like teenagers did it.
Yeah. And then you have a really good idea, and you sort of blast a really tiny blast of flame at the centre of the summoning circle to make it look like something appeared there and then like made a explosion of something and then disappeared. So you now have a fake summoning circle, a sort of blast fire bit in the middle, and 4 dead teenagers. What a good day, huh?
And this didn't on any.
So I'm just putting this in my notes. Kess makes dead teens look like murder cult.
Yeah. I mean, they were stoners. Everyone knew they were.
Okay. So yeah, having done that, Kess, are you going to flee the scene? What are you going to do?
I guess there isn't anything else. I don't want to push my luck too much.
Say that last bit again, Kess. You went crackly.
I don't want to push my luck too much, so I think I'll just go to bed and sleep.
Okay.
Good rest.
Okay, so Kess heads back after a long, lengthy night to go back to the rooms at the palace. You are let straight in, Kess.
Okay.
Your zombie, I assume you had with you. If not, then you could have left it in the stable again. And you will have to leave. You'll have to leave it in the stable overnight as well. You are not going to have the zombie in the room with you. Don't name your zombies, man. You get far too attached to them, honestly. So, Kess heads off to bed. Yes, exactly. A summoning cycle just like that. So Kess heads off to bed. So the rest of you, while the party is slowly winding down, Enna, you are approached by the king and the queen, and they hand you a very large sack full of gold, and they thank you for making the beautiful rings for the wedding, and they hope they can employ your services again. Your family is very highly spoken of.
Oh yay! Thank you. Yes. Money.
The queen sort of raises an eyebrow at you. Yes, money. Well, you enjoy it. You've earned it. Thank you again.
This is how all craftsmen work. Money.
Money. It's like starving artists on the internet when someone commissions them. Money! Oh my god! Someone's paying for my wares! Ah! So yeah, Enna, you now have, I'll put it at first 2,000 gold.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Those were some good rings, yo. Those were some good rings. Get into
nice number.
jewellery making. That's some good shiz.
Awesome.
Okay, so you get the money. The king and queen retire to bed. They bid their son and their new son-in-law good night. They say good night to you, Arissa. Your family too head off with the little princess. She waves at you, night, and she sort of skips away, going wedding, 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 wedding. I can't wait to have the wedding, and bounces out the door with her mum and dad and your family as well. And they all go to bed. And so the evening draws to a close. The last remnants of people who are left in there are the drunk people who are finishing all the food, some couples slumped around the corners, and of course the prince and the prince's husband, who are still dancing in the middle of the floor in the spotlight until the early hours. Even though they seem to be falling asleep on each other's shoulders, they just don't want to go to bed yet. And so, the evening ends, and you all head off to bed. So, you awaken the next day, you are in the palace, nicely rested and comfortable, you are offered breakfast, and you can come on down and join the king, queen, Arissa's family, and yeah, you can all have some love. Again, I keep expecting Varric to pop up, but this isn't Varric. This is the party without Varric. So yeah, you guys head on down, and you go to a very, very large and impressive breakfast table where everyone is sat. After a good 3/4 of an hour, the prince and his new husband appear, and they've both got like bags under their eyes and like necks covered in hickeys, and they're sort of both in like dressing gowns, and they sort of sit at one end of the table like, ah, and they look hungover as fuck. But everyone's happy. Arissa, as your brother passes you, Arissa, he hisses in your ear and he says, "No loud noises." At which you sneeze, and he says, "Ah, like that." Oh.
That was perfect timing.
He then like flops down next to you and picks up a spoon and starts eating some porridge. Ah.
I'm just gonna giggle.
Quiet things today, please. Thank you.
Gonna pat him on the head.
Ah! You bitch. He points his spoon at you, Arissa, like covered in porridge still, and he waves it around, dripping porridge everywhere, and he goes, One day, you're gonna have a big important ceremony, wedding or something, and I'm gonna be there the next day, and I'm gonna be the loudest person you have ever heard."
Can I just eat the porridge off the spoon?
I hate you so much, but I love you.
I love you too. Eat
Ugh.
the food.
Okay, you can have the spoon though. And he goes to get a clean spoon, like, and just wipes it on. Yeah, no. And gets his new spoon, like, starts shoveling porridge into his face. The prince is sat there sort of staring into space. He's got a piece of jam and toast halfway to his mouth, like, yeah. Yeah. But still.
Reliving the memory.
But everyone's very cheerful and happy. At some point during your breakfast, the great ornate doors get knocked upon, and a messenger comes running in, and he comes over and he runs over to the king and the queen, and he ducks between them, and he whispers something to them, and they sort of look at him and listen for a few minutes as he talks and like waves his arms a little and explains something.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay.
Oh.
Hmm?
I can hear myself. I can't hear myself anymore.
So I went red for a second, so I didn't think anyone could hear me. So I'm back. Sorry. So during your breakfast, a messenger comes in and relays a message to the king and queen, who listen very intently to it before the messenger walks away and exits.
So Rosie, I just wanted to ask if it's okay to look different again today with this guy's self.
Sure. How would you like to look? Do you want to look the same as you had done previously?
No. I want to look. Let's be a half elf today.
Okay. The king and the queen eye you as you walk in with the rest of the party, but they make the assumption that maybe you are a bedfellow who was brought back for the night. But yeah, you sit and everything is cool. To king and queen. Alrighty. So, Arissa's being asked if she has a story or a song. Breakfast is not the best time, Arissa says, especially when my brother and brother-in-law are so delicate. They both eye you out the corner of their eyes as if saying, if you start singing, I will end you.
But a little song just to set more mood is good, right?
If it's really quiet, then yes. And yes, Errol, you can send someone off. Yeah, they can pop in and pop out. They have like a one-time poof, so they can go and relay the message, but they won't be able to bring one back to you.
It would be perfectly fine if he'd actually travel there.
Well, because it would take him a while to fly there.
Yeah, true.
Like weeks, if not months.
Fair. That's very long.
But he can't. You've got like people who serve you. They can use like a one-time poof spell, so they can poof to the location, but they then can't come back. They'd have to wait for a while before they can poof back to you again. But they could go and relay your message, certainly.
Oh yeah, perfect. I have 3 of them. I'd ask one to just poof there then.
Okay, cool. All right, so one like salutes you and then bows and then poof, disappears in a puff of sort of green sparks. It's lovely. So after the messenger leaves, the king addresses you all, sits forward, he sets down his coffee mug, and he says, well, the ship that we have been waiting on is docking at the moment. It will take a few hours to turn it around, fill it with supplies, check the sails. They sustained a little storm damage on the way, but nothing that will take a great deal of time to repair, so you should be able to sail by this afternoon.
Score.
Yes, Pixie. Score. He nods at you. I do feel obliged.
Tiny bow.
I do feel obliged to tell you that we have made arrangements so you will be the only guests aboard, so you should have the run of the ship. It should be a week and a bit of journey to get over to Trevice. We're not sure entirely which port you'll be landing on, but it will be somewhere in the north as soon as we can allow it. Is this amenable to all of you? I'll take that as a yes. Right, excellent. As he is speaking, there
Yes, let's do
is...
this.
Yeah, yes, says Bob. Oh, that's okay, Cass, welcome back. As he is finishing up and he goes back to his coffee and becomes lost in conversation with his wife again, you guys hear a scuffle outside the big main doors. And there's some shouting and some loud thumps against the doors, which make both the prince and his new husband go, ah! Ah, Father, can't you see what that is? And tell them to stop, or I will have them thrown in jail, the prince says.
Nice princess.
The queen, smacks him around the back of the head and says, do not be a spoiled brat today. Ah, but my head hurts. Ah, just tell them to shut up, please. I need more coffee. And he goes and, gets 3 coffee cups poured for him. As the queen sighs heavily and eats some more toast, and the king calls over one of the guards over by the door, and they open the door and go outside to see what's going on. However, as the guard goes to open the door, several people fall through at once. They seem to be having a scuffle. There are 3 members of the palace guard, and they are holding on to a dark-skinned tiefling with black, long hair, and sort of raggedy clothes and a big dark cape and big dark boots. He's got an eye patch over one eye, and he's being held by one elbow and by the scruff of his neck by a couple of these guards, with a third one pummeling him in the stomach. And he sort of doubles over.
Yes, it's for you.
He lifts his leg and he tries to kick one of the guards in the nuts, and you hear an oof, and then a thwack as this guy is kicked to the floor, and they stand on his back, and they then look up, realizing that they have taken their scuffle through the dining room doors. Oh, your majesty, so sorry. And the guards try to pick this tiefling up and drag him away. The king stands up and calls a halt to this as you're all looking over, and the prince is like holding his ears going, ah! And the rest of your brother is like hiding his head in his arms going, too noisy today. The king stands up and says, what is this? What is the meaning of it? He is so edgy, says the chat. Swoon! Just because he has dark hair and is fighting guards does not mean he's... Alright, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't even defend that for half a second. Yeah, right.
It wasn't just that. It was also the dark cape. The dark
Oh,
cape,
yes.
the dark
He also
cloak,
has
the
a
dark
dark
outfit.
cape. With one eye, you can also see as he looks up at you and scowls from his one eye that isn't covered in a
I bet he doesn't even care what society thinks.
and he's just so dreamy. Yeah, the other eye is dark as well. So it's got like dark skin, dark hair, dark eye,
Of course.
eye, and a dark cloak. Indy is watching the tiefling closely.
And what colour is his shirt, Rosie? Is it dark?
Well, technically, yes, it's like a sort of dark crimson, so it's like the brightest colour on him. It's like a rich crimson colour. So compared to the rest of him, it's quite a bright colour, but yeah, it's like a dark red. Almost, you might say, a blood red.
Oh god, is he vamp?
Blood's bright, Rosie. What are you talking about?
You can do a perception check if you want, and
It depends on the type of blood you have. Some people have dark blood, some people have bright.
if you're royal,
Is that
you have
right?
blue blood, of
No, no.
course.
I love
I think it depends on how much oxygen is attached to the blood cells.
18 perception.
That might be
Science.
Well, I guess that means I have very oxygenated blood, so that's either really good or really...
Well, it depends where you're drawing.
27. Bloody hell, Ariel. All right, it's only breakfast time. Calm down. All right. Are you looking for anything particular, or are you just checking to
the
see if...
number of cornflakes in every bowl.
I know, right? Ariel, are you just checking to see if he's a vampire, or are you checking like anything else as well?
I'm just basically checking him out.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Well, I'm a girl now, says Ariel. Hope my wife's cool with that.
Oh, the wife's okay. It's Pixie society.
It's pixies.
They
We'll be
have an
fine.
arrangement.
So Ariel, you sort of you peer at him very closely as he's being sort of dragged over towards the king, and he's like, as far as you can tell, non-vampire. He's got slight fangs that some tieflings do have. He's got no tail, but he does have the horns, dark horns. And he does have lots of scars sort of across his lips, face, down the side of his neck, off one shoulder. Of course he does. Of course he does. You can see a lot of like rips and tears in his like baggy trousers, and he's got like a small tear taken out of his shirt down the side and stuff. He looks fairly accustomed to fighting and slightly
I wonder if I
scratched
could
up.
polymorph him into a bunch of petunias.
And a very surprised looking whale.
I think you could.
You probably could, to be fair. But why would you want
Why won't you try?
Why would you want to? He's so edgy and fun. Don't you just want to be his friend and give him cuddles and call him Chips?
I feel like it is the person that Guess is most drawn to.
Sorry, Jim. My eyeballs feel like they're being cut.
He's so edgy. He's cutting me. So
Wow.
says Belgrove. So yeah, as far as you can tell, non-vampire, but definitely tiefling. And he sort of scowls up at everyone who sees dragged before the king, and he's sort of like dumped down onto his knees, and like two of the guards stand on him, and one of them cuffs his hands together, which seems to be what they've been trying to do this whole time, and he's been fighting them off. He now has like shackles around his wrists, and he like lies there on the floor with his one cheek half buried in the floor, like, ugh, fuck. And the king asks again, he says, what is the meaning of this? Do you have any mental bleach spells? Oh, for goodness sake. I love reading chat sometimes. So the guards start to explain, and they say, where's my notes? This guy, we caught him trying to smuggle criminals out the city. And the king looks down and addresses the dark tiefling, says, is this true? and the tiefling just sort of like spits across the floor. He like smells, and the king takes that as response and says, "Right. Well, he can't stay here." And he sort of pulls the guards in and has a murmured conversation with them, and he keeps glancing back at you guys, and he sighs, and then he turns back, and then he nods, and the guards pull the shackle boy away. Boy, man, he's a big man.
Shackle boy.
Shackle boy. He's a man, okay? He's of age. He's at least 25.
He's a man. He's a manly man.
He's a manly man. As much as a tiefling in that predicament can be a manly man, he's quite scrawny, but but wily. Think think what's his name? It's gone completely out of my head from The Princess Bride. Fuck. It's gone. It's completely gone. The pirate is completely gone.
Wesley.
Wesley, thank you. Thank you very much. Think Wesley. So can hold himself in a fight, but quite thin, but not like thin and lanky, but not like teenage lanky. He's an adult. Also, I'm loving the gifts. Clink clink. He's dragged off in chains. The king then turns back to you all and says, right. A sudden and inevitable change of plan. We are gonna have to send some prisoners in the ship with you. We can only apologise for this. We will have them held in the hold. They shouldn't take up too much space. You shouldn't have to interact at all. But your sleeping quarters will not be quite so comfy. We will have to make different arrangements. But it's the only ship we have available at the moment. So we can only apologise for this, but they cannot stay here. We have nowhere to put them. We have holding cells here, but no real prison, and I am loath to keep criminals in my city, especially after such a happy occasion. I hope you will understand.
Just take a big block, shackle them to it, and toss them in the ocean. Solved.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
In that case, I didn't say anything.
Speak louder.
The king sort of half smiles at that. Looks around at all of you. So, it has been a pleasure and an honour to meet such wonderful companions of our... I suppose you are a daughter-in-law now, Harissa? And you can see him, like, in his early morning, only had one cup of coffee state, working it out. Yes, that works. Well, either way, we are all one intricated family now. You will always find food and lodging here should you wish to return. And that is an invitation for all of you, of course.
Eris is beaming.
I wish I could extend the same courtesy to you for my kingdoms, but I fear the lodging arrangement will be a bit small.
The king laughs. It's not often I meet a king who has smaller palaces than me.
I do have 6 of them, but they're all tiny.
Well,
That's why they're smaller.
perhaps one day we can come with a magnifying glass and have a look.
You'd be more than welcome.
Well, thank you very much. So right. On with the day then, I suppose. I have a captain to go and inform. Ye gods, she's not going to be happy about this. Right. He takes a huge flask of coffee out the door with him, kisses his wife goodbye, and disappears, accompanied by several guards out the door. The queen finishes her breakfast and wipes her mouth and looks around at all of you. Well, you have a few hours to yourselves to do with what you would like. If there is anything you would like to do, anything I can assist with, do let me know. I have to go and oversee some cleaning. Last night was, well, raucous. And she exits as well, leaving you all you guys around the breakfast table. The prince is pulled out of his seat by your brother, Arissa. He sort of like wraps an arm around his waist, like, come on, let's go sit in the garden and sober up. And the prince just sort of nods, uh-huh. Great wedding. Oh, great wedding, yeah. Do you remember all of it? No. And they just head on out through the doors towards the garden. You see them through one of the windows just sit down. They don't even make it to the bench. They just sort of flop down in the middle of the grass in the garden like, ah. And they just sit there staring at the sky like, ah. So yeah, all of you in the breakfast room. Indy is still leaning grumpily against the wall as far as I can tell.
Yep, she's just being quiet at the moment.
Hi, Indy.
Hello, Pixie.
You've been quiet. Do you want coffee?
A coffee will do, but I'm not exactly in need of it.
With that, I'm gonna try pixie dusting a cup of coffee.
Alright. Do you want to pixie dust a full cup of coffee or like the cup and then the coffee separately?
Well, the issue with that would be that the coffee has nowhere to go while the... Oh, wait. Never mind. My brain skipped a step. Yes, I'd like to first bring an empty cup and then the coffee to pour it because, well, otherwise I'd have an issue. And I kind of don't want Indy more angry than last time I remember.
All right. So you managed to right. Sorry, I keep lighting up red and it keeps saying nope. I'm back. Okay, cool. So yeah, you managed to bring over logistically. You managed to bring over coffee and zap it into Indy's hand grumpily.
Enjoy.
Thank you, Pixie. She's just gonna sort of like half raise the cup in a mini salute and then just start downing it.
Cool. It is perfectly normal, very hot coffee, slightly bitter the way the gnomes like it, but perfectly pleasant, and you do not need to make any constitution saves whatsoever. You'll be delighted to know.
Bum, bum, bum.
Noted.
Awesome. Cool. So yeah, you guys finish your breakfast. Did anyone have anything last they wanted to do in town before you board your ship?
Buy some very specific cookies that are only available in Amley.
Cool. Arissa's gonna go buy some Amley cookies. Alrighty.
She's going to buy like a lot of them.
Okay. Any particular type of cookie you would like?
All of them.
All the cookies. Okay. You find you know your way to like the best shops, and you find your way to like different ones. There's the really upscale ones which sell immaculate tiny little cookies that are beautiful with like dark chocolate and like all different types of chocolate. There's some that have got like all three, so they've got like milk, dark and white chocolate chips. There are some where the cookies are all squishy, some of them are crackly, some of them have got popping candy in them, and you buy out almost the entire shop's worth, and then you head down to another little cafe shop that's right by the water's edge of the big lake, where you know they make the best macaroons ever. And they're not huge, they're not rich, but everyone knows this is the place, and they come in every colour under the rainbow, and they can dye them for you right there in the shop. They have some in the window that are non-edible. They've been like frozen and magicked so they don't like mould or anything. Hi Cass, welcome back. Arissa's buying cookies. That's what you missed.
Okay.
So they literally have every colour and every shade you could possibly imagine. Did you want some of all of them? What sort of colours would you like, Arissa?
I would like a rainbow of colours.
Okay, Arissa gets literally hundreds of them. They give them to you in this... Your Varric is showing Errol with that meme. Cookies! They give them to you in a special little bag. Both shops do. You get a special, well, I'll say little, huge bag. It's a bit like a bag of holding, but it's only temporary. And it's got like a cold spell on it. So you could keep the cookies and macaroons in there for about a week before they would even start to go off. But after that point, it will start to wear off. So you'll have to finish them within a fortnight. I don't suppose that'll be too hard.
Nope. Challenge accepted.
There is. All right, awesome. Anything else from anyone else?
Okay, you win.
It literally came to my mind and I was like, I need to write it before I forget.
Bag of cold. Yes. Okay, so...
I just realized one thing that I'd like to do.
Oh, yeah?
Are there still crowds of people in the streets and everything?
There's less now. They're all a little hungover from the previous evening, but people who run shops and things, they are coming out. People with kids and everything, people who weren't completely blind drunk. There is quite a lot of people, and the atmosphere is still very much a party atmosphere. There's a lot of festival going on. It's just a bit more slow-paced today.
Can I use the staff of rulership to basically do some tourist advertisement for the Nests and the Land of Vale? Both of the kingdoms Errol rules.
Sure. So you want to encourage them to come and visit you at some point?
Yeah. Just to get some tourism going and get some income from that eventually.
Okay. And Errol starts tourism opportunity. Okay, cool. With the staff of leadership. Cool. Alrighty. So the day wears on. Indy is still being very quiet and very brooding. See, and you called the tiefling edgy, honestly. And eventually you guys wind your way down to the docks. Arissa, Kess, you bring your zombie out of the stables. Any pets, animals, etc. Like Ziggy, the little fluffy thing. He is with you, of course, because he never left Enna's side at any moment, including during the wedding. In fact, I believe he was bought a bow tie. I don't know if this was something that was mentioned off the cuff, but I've gone with it. So Ziggy has a bow tie that he has not taken off. So yeah, you guys all come down to the docks. Arissa, your family come to say goodbye to you. The princess gives you a hug around the middle, and she says, "Come back soon! Come back soon!" And your parents say you are welcome to stay if you wish. We have no. How are the young adventurers saying it these days? We have no turkey with you. We have no. Sorry, Arissa, your family is saying goodbye to you. They've just come down to the docks to see you off.
I'm trying to say we have no beef very, very badly.
That's the one. That's we're just not down with the young hip adventurer folk, Arissa. Yes, we have no beef. I mean, with you, nor does anybody else. So you can stay if you want.
Rosie, you're the resident vegan. Please weigh in on this.
I just saw that. It's the most amazing meme. Is an argument between two vegans still called a beef? I'm going to go with yes. Because I don't want to be that person who goes, I'm triggered, so I'd like you to please call it a falafel. Like,
no, I like what Gareth put.
It's called beets. I've got you. Oh my god. I can just imagine in like some Big Brother house, some like vegan sat there trying to say like, I've got beets with you, and then like these guys just walking around her just being like, beef, beef, beef. I'm so offended! Beef, beef, beef! Ah! To anyone who is triggered by that, get the hell off my channel.
strong words there for the vegan community.
Yeah, I do not speak for all vegans, and all vegans do not speak for me. I'm a nice vegan. I'm someone you have to speak to find out I'm a vegan. I don't start every sentence with it. Ah!
Yeah, I didn't know you were vegan until we actually went to a restaurant together.
Exactly. And that's how it should be, because it doesn't matter. Anyway, so yes, they do not have beef with you, Arissa, so they invite you to stay. You can. The princess, sort of overhearing this, like bounces on the spot and goes, "Yes, yes, stay, Arissa."
She kind of crouches down to Henna's level, and she's just like, "I'm sorry, sweetie, but I have things to do.
Okay,
But I'll come back as soon as I can, I promise."
and will you bring presents?
Of course I will.
I want presents, please.
What kind of sister-in-law would I be if I didn't?
Yes! And next time you come back, I'm going to be nearly as tall as you. Bearing in mind this is a very small gnome child.
I'm sure you will be.
Yeah!
She's trying to hold back laughter.
She like punches the air, her fist barely reaching where your nose is. Yeah! Okay.
Hugs her around.
And she bounces away back over to her parents. And your parents step back. The prince comes over and he offers a hand to you. Arissa, always an utter delight.
She hugs him and gives him a kiss on the cheek.
He smiles, but when the kiss sound happens, he sort of winces like, ah. Yeah. And he like pats you on the head. Yeah. I'll miss you too. And then he like...
You take good care of my brother.
I will.
And not just that way.
Yeah, I will. And he wipes a tiny fleck of drool from the side of his mouth. Yep. And he claps your brother on the back and pushes him forwards. And your brother sort of like flicks his hair out of his face and rubs his eyes like, oh. Indy smirks at this. I'm gonna miss you, sis. It's been weird not having you here. Almost been weirder having you here, but I'll miss you.
Well, I'll be back as soon as I can.
Oh, alright. And did I hear something about presents? 'Cause that would be kind of cool.
He's so subtle.
She just smiles knowingly. She's just like, shut up.
I haven't left Amley in years. The world's kind of a mystery to me, man.
Hey, you've still got a honeymoon to go to.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'll be seeing much of the outside. I mean, yeah, we're gonna go... He just goes, like, maroon in the face, like, yeah, honeymoon, yeah, we'll sort something out. Yeah. And he sort of...
I believe Fresh is nice this time of year.
Yeah, that's on the list, yeah. Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah. Ha, maybe I'll have an adventure this time. I'll kidnap the prince and take him on an adventure. Too soon? Is it too soon? I'm sorry.
I will hurt you for that.
Oh, please don't. I've already hurt myself far too much with... Oh. And he, like, rubs his head again, like, ow.
Does Arissa know where Varric kind of grew up or lived?
Probably.
Yes, she would. Yeah, so...
Is there a safe area that she could recommend to her brother? That, like, was, important to Varric.
Well, I wouldn't recommend the Forest of Eba.
I'd assume the city is kind of safe, but I'm not sure if that's as important to Varric.
I'm just trying to make them go. It's like, oh, if
I know a place.
Yes.
The port town where he met Arissa. That would be the kind of place that's important.
Okay. What's the port town called again?
Let me quickly pull up the map. Oh shit, wrong channel. There, Mercer. There's so many pinned messages. that's the wrong country. That's the one. That would be Bothwell, I guess.
Correct. Technically, I did have that in front of me, but it was really fun to listen to you try and get it, so that was pleasant. Sorry, Varric.
So she says, if you ever find yourself in Port Lothian, go to the tavern by Pier 6 and have a meal there.
He sort of nods. Alright, we will.
It's an incredible place.
Something incredible happened there?
Something like that.
Aww. He goes to give you a
Aw.
hug. Really big hug.
I love you, bro.
I love you, sis. Come back soon, yeah? Come back soon and write. Send, I don't know, postcards or something.
I will.
Or,
Don't worry.
or learn one of those spells that means you can talk to me in my head. Oh, hang on, no, don't do that.
Probably not a good idea, no. No.
No, don't do that. The chances are very high that you would interrupt something very awkward.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, like, you know,
No,
toilet
no,
or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, both would be equally off-putting.
Arissa just looks vaguely amused.
All right, go. This is it. Just no. You can leave now. This is fine. And he like kisses you on the forehead, and it's just like, right, fuck off now. Go on.
You fuck off.
And he goes and gets a hug from the prince, and he just sort of wipes his eyes a little bit and waves at you as you all start boarding the ship. You guys head off towards the gangplank, but you're held back by a few of the sailors, and you see the captain of the ship, a small, squat gnome woman with a big fancy hat with a feather and long, flowing hair that is not dark. It is, in fact, turquoise.
Ooh, I love your hair.
Because she's not angsty. She, as you flutter up, she sort of gives you a salute and says, "Thank you, Pixie. Just stand back, we've got some ruffians coming aboard." And she's smiling at this point, and it's sort of genuine. And she's sort of motioning, and the guards are bringing forward some prisoners. They're all shackled. You do recognise the dark, edgy tiefling. He's brought up in chains. He's at the front of the pack. And he's now got his wrists chained to a chain that is connected to his feet as well as he's walking along. And he's proper scowling out from under his fringe at everyone. He hasn't got his cloak on anymore. That seems to have been taken off him. And he's at the head.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that I reckon his name has at least one X in it.
No, it does not.
She quickly edited names. I'm certain of it.
Yeah.
It's like an X or a Z or you know something like that.
It's not. It's really not. His name is not as edgy as it could have been. I was very careful about it.
His name's Dave.
Well, Arissa's close.
It's an X.
Dave.
I guess you'll just have to talk to him to find out.
Hey, what's your name?
Piss
Is
off,
it a K?
Pixie. No,
What was
there's
that?
no K. There is no K. He says, "Piss off,
I thought it
Pixie."
might have been like Crow, but with a K.
Oh my god, yeah. No, that's his Twitter handle. My name's Crow. Just call me Crow. My name's Curly. I called myself Curly before Good Omens came out. God. No. God, I can't believe you've ruined this character. He's not like that. He was gonna be so fine.
He's only edgy on Sundays.
Hess is subtly checking out the ruffians. Eh? Is Indy also checking out the ruffians? Yeah. Ariel, he says, "Piss off, Pixie," as you flutter next to him and ask his name. He gets led down into the hold.
Did I kick him?
Sure. Where would you like to kick him?
Just on the cheek.
Okay. I'll do him a dexterity with disadvantage to try and dodge you. Because he is, chained. Alright, well that was a total of a 7. She might check them out in the same way Varric checks out a supermarket. Accurate.
Yeah.
Accurate. Very accurate. Okay.
Which of these ruffian souls would be the easiest to get?
I know, right? You can't trust her anymore around just, people with souls. Just,
Yeah.
but
How well exercised are they?
but none of you
If
know
they're-
that. None of you know that.
They run every day, then their souls will just slip off like skinning.
It's not her fault. These people just lose their souls so easily.
Errol, you do manage to kick him in the cheek, and it causes a tiny little bruise upon impact, and he goes, "Fuck off!" And he sort of like gets dragged
Nah,
down
I'd
into
rather
the
not.
into the hold by his chains. Oh, fuck you! And he gets taken into the hold.
Should I roll a perception? I'm basically trying to have a look at them.
Sure, do me a perception. Anyone who'd like to have a look. There are 3, 4, 5. There are 7 prisoners in total, including the tiefling boy. Man, for fuck's sake,
That
the tiefling
was a
male.
really. This is a really shitty.
Kess, you get distracted by all the stuff that's going on and the fact that he's shouting "fuck you" at the pixie as you're going through. Behind him, there are 2 dwarves. They look like twins. They are pretty much identical down to the length of their scruffy beards that are bright auburn, and their braided back hair with one side shaven. The only difference being one of them has the right... What?
I'm just laughing at the braided back hair.
They got braided hair. One of them has the left side shaved and one of them has the right side shaved. They're both boys. Males. They're male dwarves. Male dwarves. And they're getting dragged along.
Man.
They're getting dragged along. They're manly men. Looking all scruffy. Behind them, there are 3 ladies. They are all human or half-elven, and they're all wearing, for want of a better word, not a lot. They have that scantily clad attire that reminds you all of the women and men who are for hire in certain taverns that you may see. We're manly men, man in tights. Yes. All right, Arissa, noted. Remind me of this at some point. I'm just getting messages from everyone. So yeah, those 3 sashay as much as they can in their chains, and they are all looking fairly grumpy. And they sashay. They sashay down. You notice, Arissa, that they some of them stick their middle fingers up at the prince as they are led down into the hold, as they can see him off the edge of the ship. The last one coming up behind all of those is a massive, hunched-over half-orc. He looks ridiculously grumpy. He's wearing, very worn, faded leathers. He's got a big, empty scabbard on his belt, and looks like he was once attired and adecked with many weaponry, but now has been stripped of it. And they are all led down into the hold, which then gets clanged shut behind them, and you can hear chains and locks and things happening, and then the guards come back up again. And they nod to the captain, secure, and the captain sends down a couple of her crew to keep the first watch on them. And you guys are now allowed to board. How many do you have now? How many, Arissa? How many what?
Prisoners.
There's 7 in total.
Okay.
And they would be our loyal servants if we...
They will be our loyal servants. That's entirely up to you if you want to make them loyal servants. It's completely up to you.
we will conscript them.
We will have them. They shall be ours. So yeah, you guys are allowed to board the ship. You guys trot on up the gangplank. The captain, who is the female gnome with the flowing sort of bluey turquoisey hair, she leaps down off the helm and sort of greets you all, offers you each her hand. Ariel, she offers you her littlest finger to shake. She gives you all a very firm handshake and grips you all. Welcome aboard! Welcome aboard! Let's show you to your quarters. Sorry, there's not as much of them as there was. As you probably noticed, we've got some rapscallions in the hold. But Never fear, we'll just store the powder kegs near them, eh? You guys are on the deck just below mine, come on down! And she leads you down a set of spiral stairs going down to the deck just below the main one. And there's a big series of rooms that look like they can be joined together or not. There's like big fold out what are those, like room dividers that can be pulled out from the walls, but they've all been pushed back, so it's one big room with loads and loads of hammocks in it. Hope you've all got your sea legs, she says as she gestures around and points to all these bunks for you.
Let me take off my A and B legs.
She like claps you on the back of her wrist. I like you.
Thank you. I like you too.
Brilliant. She's quite an average size for a gnome, but obviously still shorter than you all, except for Ariel. Although Ariel, you are fluttering above, so do seem taller just by principle. But yeah, she says, so make yourselves at home. We'll be setting sail within the hour. Anything you need, call up to me. There's pillows, blankets, washcloths in that corner. Barrels of water, head down the corridor, there's like a whole washroom and everything, toilet out the side, kitchen down the hall, that's where we'll all be eating. We'll put some lunch on at some point when I've worked out where my chef has got to. Always the last one to board whenever there's shore leave. You'd think we chained him to the stove. We did threaten to do that once. Anyway, so yes, make yourselves at home if I can get you anything.
That sounds like fun.
She laughs, I like you too, and points at you. And she says, so, Captain Alassie, if you need anything, I will put that name in chat. See, that name doesn't have any X's in it.
It's like you said, she's a lassie.
Ah.
A lassie.
Yes, I am a girl. So yeah, call me Captain Alassie. Welcome aboard the Palace, which is the name of the ship. The name of the ship is the Palace. Kess wants to find out more about the prisoners. Well, did someone take your eye, oh edgelord Kess?
They're
Well,
so
I'm just interested.
Okay.
Kind of wondering if any of them would be useful. If not, then their souls, please. If they come to anything else. I'm sure if little accidents happen, everyone will.
Yeah, accidents happen, you know, like the whole ship getting blown up by Kess. That's totally fine.
That would not be the first time that she endangers everyone just because she...
I think this is my favourite comment so far. Expendable souls that no one will miss? Of course Kess will be there! Oh, I love it.
You know, I want to first find out if they are or if they. So you know, just talk to him, talk to them a little bit. But I guess I better look edgy as possible when meeting with. Help them trust her.
Sorry, just replying to Indy, who just did a little perception check. Alrighty, so within the hour, you have set sail on you've got a couple of weeks worth of voyage, and you guys settle in. It's all hammocks. Ariel, Ariel, they have tried their best for you. What they've done is they have emptied out, it's like a hanging candle, so like a hanging lantern for you. They've taken the, for want of a better word, door off the front, and they've taken the candle out, and they put like a coil of rope and a little bit of like the stuffing from a pillow inside, so you've got like a hanging sort of boudoir that's hanging from the ceiling.
Aww. It doesn't resemble a jar in the slightest, right?
There are 3 sides that are made of sort of like glass, but they're totally see-through, and the door side with the hinges on it is taken off, so there's only 3 edges to it.
Okay, in that case I will survive for now with like sleeping in there.
Okay. All right. So the ship sets sail. You've got 2 weeks to do whatever you would like with while you are on board the ship. I love how immediately just Indy will go below decks to where the prisoners are taken. Kess wants to go find out more about the prison. Marvellous. All right.
We'll be tag teaming these.
I love it. So, as soon as the captain leaves and you've all got yourself settled, Indy and Kess immediately make for the door. At this point, would anyone else like to accompany them?
No need for too many cooks spoiled.
I'd like to stealthily follow them, if at all
Okay.
possible.
All right. Do we?
I'm gonna get a start on these cookies.
Arissa going to sit there and just eat all the cookies. Are you sharing the cookies, Arissa? You could make friends with the 26 members of the crew and give them all cookies.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay.
And I will also take a cookie, hold it to the sky, and think of Varric before I eat it.
Aww. And one for Varric. Aww. Somewhere in the midst of the Tuesday campaign, Varric starts to slather and his mouth starts to water. He can't help but think of macaroons and cookies in all sorts of different colours and flavour combinations. Damn it, he thinks. Now I'm hungry. Anyway, coming back to the Sunday party. So Indy and Cass, you are heading downstairs. Ariel, if you want to sneak behind them, do me a stealth check.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like I nailed it.
Okay. Nice! Bloody hell. Alright, Stealthy Pixie is stealthy. Alright, so Ariel, you have followed very stealthily. Is anyone else going with them? Then I shall take that as a no. Alrighty, so Cass and Indy and in brackets Ariel, you guys head down. It's not difficult to find the prisoners. The floor you're currently on, you already know the layout of. If you keep heading down, you'll find the galley kitchen, which is where everyone prepares the food and eats together. There's also the sort of washroom and the toilet, which is basically a hole that goes out the side of the ship, and like a sort of rough shower room and stuff. And then there's the food supply and stores. Varric's not here, so I don't need to tell you what's in there. And then there's a step ladder that heads down to the lower deck just below you, and you can smell sort of gunpowder and soot from down there. So sorry?
Eddie's just going to go and directly towards where she thinks the prisoners are going to be.
Cool. So you head on down, you go down the steps, and as you come down, you see a couple of the sailors who are stood chatting. They're leaning on a couple of massive barrels of powder. You can see some cannons sticking out the edge of the ship here, and this seems to be where they would load cannonballs from as well. They sort of eye you a little bit as you walk down, and you can see down the other end of the ship there is a huge set of metal bars going across, and this is the hold where the prisoners are kept.
Are you putting in a picture as well, or?
Say again?
Are you going to put in a picture? No, you were just describing.
The prisoners are all in the same cell. It's basically one half of the below deck. It has bars across it, so they can't get back out again. They're all stuck in this one area of the ship.
Okay. Okay. So Rosie, before Cass goes in, she wants to go in looking as like edgy as possible.
Okay. How edgy would you like to look?
With this guy's self. Surely I can look very edgy.
Okay. Are you talking like you want to look like cool and badass? Do you want like an emo fringe and a Paramore t-shirt? Like how edgy are we going?
Paramorty. I guess cool, edgy.
Alright, cool. Any particular race, Cass?
I guess tiefling is the edgiest.
Okay. Alright. You watch as, before you head on down to where the prisoners are, file me under E for edgy. Yes, accurate. You watch as, before your eyes, Cass turns into a tiefling with pale skin, dark hair that hangs lank over half of her face, tattoos, scars, black leather belts all across her everywhere. Yeah. So
Indy's just
big
going
black
to
boots as well.
raise an eyebrow when she notices this.
Yeah, and no needs to be alarmed.
Alright, so you head on down. The guards sort of eye you while they're having their conversation. As you come down, and they say like, "Alright, can we help you?"
Indy was just going to glance at the guard and then look down to where the prisoners appeared to have been taken and say, I felt it was my duty to see whether any of these sinners wish to repent.
They raise their eyebrows at you. One of them mumbles to the bloody paladins.
Yeah, I'm here guarding my friend, as you can see.
Oh, we didn't even see you there. You were so dark and edgy, you sort of blended into the background. But they wave you on like, oh, go on then, but you can't let them out and don't go in with them. God knows what they could be up to in there.
Indy just smiles and walks on.
You hear sort of,
Cass looks edgy.
Cass edgily struts down with her thigh-high black boots and her matrix coat and her dark sunglasses, even though it's very dark already.
You can't have enough sunglasses.
Alright, so you guys get to the edge of the bars. They're like slightly rusted, covered in like mold and mildew, dank. It smells of seawater down here. And yeah, the seven prisoners are all sat about. The half-orc is sat by himself right at the back. He's furthest away from the bars. The two twins are sort of sat in the middle. They are playing a sort of game out with like bits of pebble and things they seem to have found on the floor. They're trying to play some sort of game of like wagers and things. They're trying to entertain themselves. The three companion ladies are sat leaning against a wall, deep in whispered conversation with themselves. And the tiefling boy is sat with his back directly to the bars in the middle of them, just like tapping his foot against the floor and sighing.
So Indy's just going to approach and then smile and look across at the three companion ladies and go, ladies, a word?
One of them looks up and raises an eyebrow and looks back at her friends. The other two sort of share a laugh, and one of them looks up and goes, "Just one? Make it a good one then."
Not how bad.
Ooh. Indy smiles and then casts a 5th level spell on that one.
Oh, which one?
Which spell?
Geese.
Okay.
Oh!
All right. She gets a save for that.
Let me just have a look.
So we'll check while I flick to my page as well. Though I think you're going to get that before me because I'm currently in the
It's
master
a
manual.
wisdom save, and
Yeah.
she's gonna need to beat an 18.
Okie dokie. Wisdom. Okay, that's a 14.
Rightio. So she fails that.
Indy is not in the mood to be sassed right now.
So she casts a spell and basically says, "You'll answer any question I say." Truthfully.
As it takes effect, she just nods her head. I will. Her friends sort of look at her like, the fuck? Was it obvious you cast this spell, Indy? Were you trying to hide it?
She did not hide it at all.
Okay. That her friends sort of like try and shake her and smack her, but then when they realise the spell's taken effect, they sort of stare at you and sort of shoot daggers at you. But there's not a lot they can do from inside here. And as far as you can tell, they don't appear to have any magic themselves.
So she is now going to say, "You're a long way from home. What are you doing here?"
How do you know where our home is? One of the other ones interrupts before her friend can reply to you.
Well, by your attire, if nothing else.
The other one mutters something and you overhear the word clever. Bloody. Ugh. The one you have cast a spell on nods and says, yes, we travelled a long way from the capital.
And why were you here?
Well, the capital got destroyed. Laley is now a big crater in the ground.
And so you travelled all the way here, past Trevice and everywhere else?
We have friends in Trevice. They helped us pass.
Who are these friends?
The group called No Wings.
Wow, that's interesting. Is anyone here affiliated with No Wings?
Other than us three, none that we know.
Interesting. And on what grounds were you arrested?
The prince didn't want us around anymore.
And you're being taken where?
Trevice, as far as we know. Sentenced back to the last place we claimed was home.
And what do you intend to do there?
Reconnect with our group, make a new plan, find some other wealthy person to pay our way.
Interesting.
Oh, wait, just a bit of out of character question. Did they say they were connected with No Wings, or did I?
Yep, they're
Yeah.
affiliated with No Wings.
Okay.
And who are your contacts within No Wings back in Trevice?
We never exchanged names as a point of principle. But we know someone who calls himself the Rapscallion, and his band, who said they came up from Borson as well. We combined with them and they led us through. We also know the cultists, although they never exchanged names, and we have briefly spoken with Earthel.
You have spoken directly with her, pal.
Only briefly. She acknowledged us as we asked to join them.
Well, You've provided some interesting information. What do you know about your companions in here?
Not a lot. That one, she points at the half-orc, is grumpy and smells funny. And he snores.
Right.
Those two, she points at the twins, are thieves. They only came to Treves to try and take from the royal treasure chambers, but got themselves caught before they even saw it. And that one, and she points at the edgy one, whose name definitely does not have an X in it.
What's his name?
He was our passage out of here, but he got caught trying to break us all free, like a moron. And the dark tiefling guy like throws one of the like pieces of like broken floorboard off the deck below him and like flings it at her, and it narrowly misses her left ear. Oh, fuck you! And you just hear a gruff voice like, fuck off!
You get along quite well.
Yes.
So, which of you are the least used with? Yes.
Say that
We
last
are.
bit again, Cass.
Which of you would say are the least useful? You three have been acknowledged by our fellow.
But the whole four, they are expendable.
I mean, I suppose he's strong. It depends what you want them for. He's probably good at heavy lifting. Those two are supposedly good at sneaking into places and stealing stuff, but I have yet to see any evidence of that. And that one is supposed to be a really good smuggler, but once again, got himself caught by a bunch of gnomes.
I would like to hear that story. How did you get yourself killed, Miss Smuggler?
How did he get himself caught smuggling?
Yes. Cass is asking Miss Smuggler how he got himself killed.
The tiefling, like, looks up at you through his eye patch and just glares at you.
Oh, you must have had a reason for wanting to help these. Was it out of something? Or was it out of affiliation?
Connections. He, like, snarls at you. And gold. Which, technically, you still owe me. Oh, not likely. And they sort of bicker back and forth for a moment between themselves.
Well, you see, if we are going to be holed up here forever, you're never going to see any of these goals. So what I'm interested in is if you are of any use for us.
Well, this one said he'd protect me if anyone came to attack me. And he points at the, like, big, scary half-orc one. Them two said they'd give me half the gold they found in the treasury. Them three said they would pleasure me in whatever way I wanted. And they get me connections in their group in Treves.
And what do you want connections with no wings for?
Well, they've got all the power, don't they? Like, that's what you want. Do something, change this shitty world.
You're interested in these sort of things? Are you interested in our fell as well?
I mean, if she's the cause of it, sure. Never heard of her. Don't really care this way or that, but she's fighting some sort of fight that's gonna get me free, so I can do whatever the hell I want. I'm on her side.
Well, what is your opinion of Celestial?
Never met one, wouldn't care to.
But would you care for destroying them?
Would he care for what?
Destroying Celestial?
If they piss me off, sure.
Do you even know what they are?
I don't know. Posh folk with wings.
So what exactly do you want to do to her then?
I don't know. See what all the fuss is about? I heard she wants to change the world for the better. I'm in. If I can somehow scrounge a crew and my own ship out of it, more's the better.
Well, you see, there might just be a mixer, well. And changing the world, of course, because she will bring a better future.
Guess we'll have to see, won't we? What are you lot doing, anyway? What do you want?
Well, I'm interested to know if you want to sign up into our service. Because I know the 3 ladies are already affiliated. But perhaps we could recruit some more of you.
I ain't signing up to nothing until I've read all the small print. I'm gonna go myself and see what's happening. If I don't like it, I'm getting out. Simple as that.
Right, so how much choice do you have right now? Or when we arrive there, you're just going to be handed into... what is happening to you guys? Are you all getting executed or into prison?
The companion lady who has been spelled answers this. She says, well, we are being exiled out of the family, never allowed to return for crimes against the crown or the country or something along those lines. And we're being dumped in the nearest place they could find and the last place we all called home, which in this case is Trevice. So we're going to be dumped there and essentially set free in a country which is, you know, fairly renowned for people dying, so they don't really care what we do beyond that. Thankfully, we have contacts we can make contact with once we get far enough inland.
Right.
Indy's going to glance across at Kess and go, I believe they may be useful.
Yes, I think I can see some merit in us. Maybe contract?
At this point, the edgy tiefling boy, shakes his head for a second and doesn't concentrate. What the fuck? Ah, what? What? He blinks and looks around. Who the fuck just did that? And he's glaring around at all of you. From under his fringe and his eye patch.
Indy's going to glance across and go, did what?
And he snarls and looks at all of you. And he starts swearing and cursing in Infernal. Anyone here speaks Infernal?
Nah.
Double check.
Is it similar to Primordial?
Not really.
No, Indy doesn't know it.
No. Alright, you just hear this snarling, guttural, devilish language, which you have heard similar to in the Underrealm. But yeah, essentially, it does sound like a string of swear words,
Oh, what got you punch? Smuggler boy.
He literally raises his eyebrow at you, and is like, I'm older than you, bitch.
And how do you even?
He looks over your disguised form and goes, we can't be more than 20 and I'm 22, so there.
Can't argue that kind of logic.
Indy just leans forward and goes, not that a lady ever reveals her age, but that makes you nothing more than a child.
He snarls at you, Indy, and spits an infernal curse word at you, fuck.
Right. Let's cut the chatter and how about we get down to business?
You mean after he's had his temper tantrum?
He snarls at you
mean-
again.
Look, if you want to miss out on the best deal of your life, go on and lose out, because we can offer you things that you can only dream of right now.
Alright, and what do I have to do for you in order to get everything I could possibly dream of?
Well, we have been discussing this goddess, Orfel, right?
Never heard of her. Go on.
Anyway, as I said, there might be mission involved that she would reward very, very graciously.
Alright.
I can assure you that you will be compensated very well. You know, it is a goddess.
Cass, do me a persuasion check. At this point, again, he like holds on to the side of his head like, motherfuck! And you hear like swearing and infernal again as he closes his eyes. What? And like bats away at the air around him. There's nothing in front of him, but he's like swiping away at invisible forces that only he can see. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Okay, so that's persuasion 27.
Okay. Cass, I'm gonna make you do that again for a disadvantage because of what just happened.
Oh,
I'm really sorry.
She's not sorry.
I'm sorry. The person who caused it probably isn't sorry.
okay. So I did actually roll the same.
Okay. Alright, no, I've been corrected. The person who caused it is not sorry at all.
Yeah.
Alright, so he listens to you and he says, and this wouldn't happen to cost me my soul, would it?
No, not if you succeed. If you are useful, then you will be richly rewarded. And I'm sure you are capable. I'm sure you would make no mistake.
Alright, what would I have to do?
Right. So, at the moment, we have some things. Oh, Rosie, I have to do it. We want to deliver it or destroy it?
Right.
Rosie, out of character.
Okay.
Do we want to deliver the shard or destroy it, or what's the best order?
As far as you can tell, deliver and Urfel will have it destroyed. It's unlikely you could, from the sound of it, destroy it. If you could, that would be great. But Urfel will do it herself.
Right. Okay. So, since you are such a good people smuggler, we need to get to Urfel and deliver her something on the
Right.
It's a very important thing for her. And as I said, she would really reward you for.
He's like mulling it over. He seems vaguely persuaded by this.
It's not a bad idea for you. You're good at this anyway.
Well, it's better sounding than my current predicament, but how exactly? And he sort of looks at you. So you know where this Urfel is?
Rosie, do we know where we are going?
So far,
Well,
all they've said is Travis.
You know you're going to a port on the north side of Trevis, but from there you could find the capital drop, which is where Urfel and Nobings and everybody is, so...
Okay, so we're going to the capital. Right. So yeah. Yeah, we are going to the capital. I'm sure that's not very good.
Alright. Fuck it. Deal.
Good. Very good. And the ladies, do you want to accompany us?
Are we to understand you are also going to somewhere around Rog, the capital?
We are indeed.
Then that is where we would be making our own way anyway, so regardless, perhaps we will travel roughly together in the same direction, I suppose.
Well, that sounds like a good thing to me. Looking forward to it.
The important question still remains, though, says the tiefling man, leaning on the bars. We still got 2 weeks cooped up in here. You got any plan for getting us out and liberating us so we can, not spend 2 weeks sitting on our asses rotting away down here? Or are you going to leave us until we get to Trevice?
Well, that poses an interesting question.
Done.
And what will you do given your freedom?
Mutiny.
The thing is, can you navigate a ship?
He points to himself. Pirate!
And how many of the others in...
Well, I don't know how many of these idiots will be any use to you, but, the whole point of a mutiny is you don't need to kill everyone, you just overrun the captain and take over the ship.
Look, here, we guess we safe. Can you guarantee that even if we have mutiny, we get to Trevice safely, or not? The question.
Well, I can guarantee that that's where I'm going to be headed, and if you free me, I will not murder you, because that makes us square. I can't guarantee the sea will be as kind. I have seen many creatures in my travels and my days, lost many good and bad men to various different creatures. But you help me mutiny this ship, and I will keep you as safe as I possibly can.
But wouldn't we be safe if we not mutiny? And you have to give us a bit of bail on that.
I guess that depends. Who do you trust more? A captain you've only just met? Or a guaranteed sure thing who's already got a deal with you and therefore will only lose out if he doesn't do what you want?
Well, I believe we are on the right side of the bars.
He he spits at you and infernal again. Asrap!
And as I understand it, this captain is definitely taking us, and we've already got a sure deal in that regard.
I'm sure you lot can entertain each other there. It's not like the rest of the ship can figure it. We're all going to be bored.
If you're gonna be boring, you can leave us alone now.
Maybe we can share stories then.
I'll share a story with you. I'll share the most brilliant story possible with you when you let me out.
Soon enough, only in 2 weeks' time. I'm sure you will get bored.
I
just don't see any benefits to letting you.
He slouches back over his knees and starts kicking the floor again and looks away from you guys.
As I said, a child.
He jumps to his feet, which is tricky because he's still got his hands and his feet in chains, and he grabs the bars right in front of you, Indy, and shakes them as he can, full on spits at you, and he's swearing in infernal, "Mask you fucking mud!" And he proper hurls a ball of saliva at you,
He took that well.
Thief.
Indy's just going to smirk and go, and you believe we would trust you when you can hardly even keep control of yourself?
He is going to look.
He is amusing.
He's going to look you up and down, Indy. Okay. And you see some sort of magic behind his eyes as he looks you up and down. And then he like smirks at you. Okay, so the person who just sent me a message, remind me in a moment and that will occur. And Indy, he like looks up and down you. And as the magic like flashes back out of his eyes, he like wipes his mouth with the back of his hand and says, "Yeah. Least I didn't get myself cursed now, did I?"
I am aware of this item and what it does.
He's like proper grinning at you, like proper fangs and a forked tongue showing now. He like pokes it out at you and goes, "Yep. Can't get it off, can ya?"
For the moment, that doesn't matter.
It will soon. Look at that. It's filling up.
And I believe you wouldn't want to be anywhere near me when that happens, right?
Oh, I would give my left arm to watch that.
Well, that could also be arranged.
Should we take it now?
He's like proper grinning at you and you're like, "You don't scare me, you're fucked."
We don't even know your name.
Didn't give me yours, did you?
Well, Indy's just going to smirk and go and openly show her symbol now and say, "My name is irrelevant, but I am potentially your only safe passage through Trevice."
His smirk falters a little bit. And he like scratches his nose with the back of his hand. "You're not the only one."
I might be the only one you see alive. And with that, Indy turns and walks.
"Fuck you, scrap!" He like spits after as you walk. It is at this point that a cold, shadowy hand slaps one of the companion girls on the cheek, as if the girl next to her did it. And the hair gets slightly pulled to one side, and they start squabbling amongst each other, initiating a squabble and a fight that continues on. The tiefling boy sort of like, man, looks around at them. "Fuck you." And he looks back at you, Kess, and goes, "How about you?" "Tell me yours, I'll tell you mine. Let me out of this hell pit."
I'm not going to let you out.
Ugh.
Your name. You know that. As I said, you have not really offered enough for letting.
Fine. Your name for mine.
It seems like a fair deal. I'm Cass.
I'm Bret.
What was his name?
Bret. With his name the entire time, and there was never an F in it. Gareth.
Yes, it's Brett. He's a Brett.
He's Bret the Brat.
Brett the Brat.
I swear to God, originally he wasn't. You just turned him into this edgy teenager. Like, I don't know what you did to my NPC guys.
Brett the
Hashtag.
Smuggler.
I
Hashtag.
believe it was his temper tantrum.
Bret the Brat.
Amongst other things.
It's like,
Yeah.
what's new to NPC? He used to be so nice. I believe he had a temper tantrum. I believe you caused that.
No, that was entirely his fault.
He was insulted and belittled, and it wasn't nice. Wah. He offers you one of his hands, like, awkwardly through the bars, Cass. They're still chained together, so you can reach, like, half of it.
I guess it's a little bit suspicious, but it does so.
Okay. Go on. Shake a poor sinner man's hand. He, like, waggles his fingers at you as you move to shake his hand.
Cass will shake his eye contact to show dominance.
He shakes your hand and then lets go. And then he turns around and sits back against the bars, back in the position he was in. Alright. So, you're gonna head back up to everybody?
When they head out, I wanna say something to Bret before I go.
Okay, are you gonna say it as Errol, or are you gonna say it in shadowy
As Errol.
form? Okay.
As Errol, because I don't have that many spell slots for.
Alright, so you come out of hiding.
Yeah, but only after both Indy and Cass have left the room again.
Okay, cool. Are you going to go through the bars so you're in front of him?
Do I fit through the bars?
Yeah, you would do.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna be behind him.
Okay.
Tap him on the shoulder.
What? What the fuck
Hi,
are
Bret.
you?
Hi, Bret.
Do I know you?
No, you don't, but I know you like to trade names, and, well, I just like to say I won. Bye! And then I fly off.
You hear more spitting and info. Motherfuck! What the fuck is going on in this motherfucking ship?
Oh, he would likely recognize the tone of voice.
Ah.
The thing.
Alright, he does, which makes him swear louder and more often.
Enjoy that, little bitch.
And you
And
hear
then
some
I
like
fly out.
clanging against the bars as he sits down. Motherfuck! And the guards run over. Oi, stop that! And you hear a doof as he's kicked in the back. Fuck off! And this squabble continues as you guys head on back upstairs.
Nice.
Alrighty, so you guys get back on upstairs. You have 2 weeks of sailing. Apart from Arissa making friends with the crew and sharing her cookies and whatever is left of the food. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to do, say, talk about, etc. As you're going along?
I want to go do the thing that I said to you about in the evening.
Yeah. So in the evening, are you going to sneakily go down, or are you going to go down quite brazenly?
A bit of a mix.
Okay. So
Just
could
gonna sneak with confidence.
could everyone else do a perception check, and Arissa, you can do a stealth check.
Wait, how the hell did I get onto a boat?
Enjoy.
Did you not notice?
I've been paying attention for the last 2 hours.
I feel like that was
Is
both
that-
in and out of character. He has been packing quite a lot.
Sorry?
Wow. At least Harry's tried.
21.
This is why she's sneaking with confidence.
Okay.
That's why it's a mix. Because she knows
Rissa
she'll
rolled a
probably-
9 stealth, so she's like, hell yeah, I'm so sneaky. Probably saying that out loud. I'm so sneaky. Don't be suspicious. Don't
Although
be
she wasn't
suspicious.
really aiming to be sneaky.
That's true. That's true. It doesn't matter to you. Best give ever. So yeah, Arissa like gets up and nonchalantly grabs her many instruments and heads on down.
Belgarath has no idea where she's going.
Belgrath has no idea what's going on, but Indy and Ariel, you notice that Arissa gets up in the evening and heads on downstairs into the hold where the prisoners are.
She has her loot with her.
Don't feed them cookies. They don't deserve it.
Alright, so, Arissa, you head on down. What do you mean, why are you on a boat, Belgraph? You're leaving Amley to get to Trevis. That's why you're on a boat. Or are you just playing into your terrible perception roll now? Because it could be both.
Yes. Yes.
What? When did this happen? Why am I on a boat? I don't understand. That's a good point, actually. Because you are now getting to the end of your first day, could everybody do me a constitution check?
Why?
Seasickness.
Oh.
Because none of you grew up on ships. So. But it's a check, not a save. So, well done, Arissa. Very good.
Thank you.
Alright, you're all good. You're all good.
Oh, I guess I got
Okay. Cass and Enna, when you sit down for your evening meal, you take a little longer to chew everything, and you feel a little woozy. You're very aware that everything is rocking back and forth, and dear God, will it ever stop rocking back and forth? But after you've had some food in you, you feel a lot better.
I rolled a nat 1.
Errol,
You're getting paid back. Errol is getting paid back.
Errol, however,
I did nothing wrong.
No.
Nothing that you know of, at least.
Errol, you find it really odd. When you're up on deck, you're fine. But when you're below decks, which is where most of you are hanging out for most of the time, you're flying in the air, which should make you fine, except that the room is swaying and moving, and you're never quite sure whether you're staying still and the room is moving, or if you're accidentally wiggling from side to side in the air. It's really disconcerting for you, especially when you see your friends sitting and they're swaying around you as you hover on the spot, and you start to get really giddy, and you sit down on the table to try and have some dinner, and you end up sitting down in the middle of someone's plate of mashed potato and pie. And you now have a butt covered in mashed potato and gravy.
Oops.
The sailor sort of looks up at you, having narrowly missed you with the fork that was going into his plate of food. Hey! Oi! Get out! Right. I'm getting another plate. This one's yours now. You better finish the whole bloody thing. Waste of a fucking plate of food, honestly. And like pushes a plate of food into the middle of the table for you and goes to get himself another one.
I'll sit down on the pie and just eat around me.
I'm going to eat my way out of this situation. Alright, so, Arissa, as everyone finishes their dinner, you head on off downstairs, accompanied by your loot. You come up, you see downstairs, there's like sacks of gunpowder and stuff in one corner, and cannons and cannonballs. There's another 2 guards, their shift is swapped over, and they see you at the bottom of the stairs, and they greet you fairly nicely, knowing who you are. Oh, hello, Miss Arissa, hello? What business have you down here?
I just thought, well, I'm a bard. I thought I'd play for the prisoners. Be born here.
For the prisoner. As practice, you mean? Sure. I mean, if you want. Perhaps you can come play for us up on deck later, yeah?
If you're good.
They both laugh at that, like, oh, she said we have to be good when the prisoners were worse. You're funny!
He just stares at them very, like, blankly.
Doot, Terra loot. They sort of nod and they go back to their conversation, and they you can pass. The cells look pretty much the same as when Indy, Cass, and Errol went down. Not that you would know this, but yeah, the dark-haired tiefling boy is leaning with his back to the bars. The 3 companions are now sitting at opposite ends of the room, having had a squabble. So like the 3 of them are all separate now. One of them is making very slow and forced conversation with the big half-orc. The other ones are talking to the twins.
I ruined their friendship.
Yes, you did.
What the tiefling was supposed to do.
Sorry, I just saw that one. Beautiful.
Is there
Yes.
like a chair or a stool or something? Like Erisa could sit on?
Yeah, there's like a small barrel you could sit on.
Okay, good. She's going to perch herself on there.
All right. Like the companions look up at you. The dwarf glances up at you. They sort of like shrug and go back to what they were talking about.
Erisa waves at them cheerily and then starts to tune her lute.
They like some ears prick up and they look and listen. Most of them looking confused. The tiefling glances around at you under his eye patch and raises an eyebrow.
And then requests Wonderwall.
The ship just is
anyway,
getting
stereotype.
weirder.
So once she's finished tuning her lute, she'll look up and go, "Any requests?"
Oh, that's really mean. I could say that, but it's kind of mean. Oh, fuck it. Yeah, I've got a request, says the tiefling. Shut up.
She goes, "No. Anyone else?"
Oh. The ship is full of insane people. Oh. One of the dwarfs raises a hand and in a Scottish accent that I cannot do and therefore will not attempt, he requests it's like a dwarven folk song that's quite popular, like most people know this one. What? Yes, do it.
I would like to request the dwarf song which goes Hartsabas Basak Beauty Beauty Beauty.
I can do, hang on, Billy Connolly. That's it. That's all I can do.
By the way, that's dwarvish for I am what I am.
So I know the song.
Yeah, you definitely know the song.
Okay. And she starts playing it.
The dwarves sort of nod their heads and listen. The companions look up. Some of them drum their feet and tap their toes and stuff. The half-orc sort of like grunts, shakes his head and goes back to just sort of staring off into the distance. The tiefling very pointedly sits with his back to you and doesn't move.
I would like to... Let me just double check something. While I am playing the song, I'm going to turn the tiefling's hair pink.
Alright. It takes him a few seconds to notice, and then he sort of scowls up from under his fringe and like lifts it with his hands and looks. The fuck! What? And he like looks around.
Oh god, he's gone from edgelord to emo.
He's an emo kid, non-conforming as can be. He looks around and is like, "Did you do this?"
Erisa just continues singing.
Oh. And he like leans back against the bars with his head in his hands. The fuck did I do? Oh. I'm so sad. Bret's next song. Alright. You continue to play Orisa. Those of you who are still upstairs eating and stuff, a good half an hour to 45 minutes goes by. The dwarves and the companions do start to join in with you, Orisa. they start to request things. When they realise you are genuinely playing stuff, the dwarves request more things. Some obscure songs that you've only heard pieces of, but you can play them the chorus, and that seems quite happy for them. The companions request songs that you've heard in the high courts and things, and some of them like move to get up, and one of them sort of pulls the other one, and they sort of do a sort of dance, and the other one taps their feet a little bit, and the tiefling still continues to glare away from you with his bright pink hair. But after about 40 minutes goes by, you're interrupted by shouting coming from on deck. Those of you who are in the kitchen can hear this as well. They are, yes. Indy would know that, but hasn't necessarily told you that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
To everyone who's just listening to this, I apologise. Yeah, the companions are part of the Order of Companions. Indy will be able to tell that from the robes that they're wearing. They're part of the Borsin chapter of the Order of Companions. It's just that if it's the kind of thing, once you know it kind of thing. But yes, you're interrupted. There's loads of shouts coming from on deck. You can hear lots of running feet. And can everyone do me a perception check?
Nat 20.
Not natural.
For me as well. I got a nat 20 as well.
Marissa is so distracted by the music.
Sorry, it was
Yeah, I was like, 101 for a perception check. Well, by God.
He's so fucking alert. He's aware of all
You just
actions.
can't sleep.
He knows
You
what's
broke the game. Okay, so everybody except for Enna and Indy and Arissa, you all hear sort of shouting and running footsteps, but everyone else hears something else as well. You can hear sort of like a roaring sound, and you can hear crashing of waves, and you can hear the sounds of something really, really powerful, like a huge storm that seems to be coming from over to the starboard side of the ship and getting closer. You can hear shouts coming from upstairs, things like batten down the hatches, lash them or let them go, and you can hear people running about with ropes trying to secure things, and...
Can we see the source?
Say again?
Can we see the source of the thing? At least with the net.
Say that last bit again.
Can we see the source of this? The
Yes. Yes. Yep, so Errol's going to fly up to the top. You guys, you can go up on deck if you want, or you can peer out of one of the portholes. Alright, so you go up on the deck. Yeah, you can see that the sailors are running about.
I'm going to look out the porthole window.
Alright, Belgraph looks out the porthole window. The captain, she's up by the helm, she's ordering her crew, and you can see that there is a huge thunderstorm. There's lightning cracking the sky. It's far off on the starboard bow. And you can see right in the middle of it is a huge hurricane. Like, massive. Big enough to swallow the entire ship whole and still have room either side. And it's lapping up bits of the water, creating a huge, like, tsunami thing as it's coming through. As you're looking at it, could everyone do me another perception check?
well, even with the nat 20s.
Anyone who got a nat 20? No. Just type that you got your nat 20 to remind me when I go through it while everyone else does. I'm just going to roll for the prisoners. And that one for Arissa.
Wow, you're so perceptive.
She's just so involved in the music, man. Okay. One of the companions and the grumpy tiefling, as he shall now be known, the edgelord tiefling, do hear. And for a moment, Arissa, that's probably why you don't notice. Yes, I read it, Varric. He sort of waves a hand at you, Arissa, to
I sent
shush.
it before. Oops.
I like it. He waves a hand at your wrist to like shh, shh, and for a minute you think he's just sassing you, but then he starts like running towards the really high, like tiny little porthole and trying to peer out the side of the ship. And you just hear him exclaim in Infernal, and you hear like what, like fuck in common, and then there's betting fucking death. And that's it. So those of you staring the second time, Cass, Anna, Errol, Indy, yeah, cool. Belgraph, what did you get for your second perception check? Okay, so as you guys look out, you see the hurricane coming towards you. Belgraph, it looks oddly magical, but you can't quite put your finger on why. The ship is rocking about a bit too much as you look out of the porthole. Those of you on deck, you spot tiny, tiny little flecks of white and sparks of magic inside this tornado. And those of you who got an 18 or higher, which I believe is Indy... 17, yeah. So Indy, Kess, and Errol, you guys spot there are tiny white flecks inside this hurricane, and they look very much like wings.
Wings?
Yes.
So,
to which the response is Belgraph saying, "Goddamn global warming," and Arissa saying, "About to get myself some lovely ruby slippers."
I'd like to fly down to
Where are you flying down to, Errol?
Belgrade.
Alrighty, you find him in the kitchen, peering out the porthole.
I'm gonna tap him on the shoulder and I'm gonna go, "There's wings in that hurricane. What did you do?"
What did I what, sorry?
What did you do?
Why do you assume it was me?
Well, it's obviously magical, and I didn't do anything, and, well, you're the strongest mage here, then.
I'm not powerful enough to conjure a friggin' hurricane.
Does Indy recognize what kind of wings?
Indy, have you seen a celestial before? Or an angel?
She may have your...
Oh shit.
her...
They heard you, Kess.
Then I'm gonna go with, yeah, you've got a pretty good idea. They look like celestial or angel wings.
Suddenly unBRB'd.
It's alright, Kess. We're gonna finish here. I'm gonna leave you on this massive cliffhanger, but yeah, I just wanted to answer Indy's question. So yeah, as you stare out into this hurricane of mess, Ariel and Belgarath are arguing below. That's going to be my last note. Ariel and Belgarath argue over who caused it. Indy is scowling and staring and drawing her weapons. And Arissa is ever so slightly oblivious as the prisoners try to... Well, some of the prisoners try to alert her to the danger that is approaching the ship as a huge, magically enchanted hurricane filled with angels comes gliding towards you across the ocean. And that is where I will leave you for today.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, God's pissed.
So, I'll turn up the recording if everyone wants to shout a very cheerful and enthusiastic Tatty Bear.
Happy birthday!
Tatty bear.
Tatty bear.